Joining me on the broadcast, Daniel Block, who's a senior journalist. Daniel, this was a marriage which people understood would end sooner than later, 130 days. That was the time that was given to Elon Musk. But over the past few weeks, we had seen the tension building up between Elon Musk and President Donald Trump, and some of the statements also coming out now, clearly pointing towards the fact that things were not all right between Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
I think that's right. In many ways, one of the things we're all surprised by is just how long this marriage lasted. These are two men with enormous egos. Both of them think that they're the smartest people in the room, basically in any situation that they're in. And so there was inherently tension between the two from day one, as you were saying. And I think what started to happen eventually, although we'll see what the reporting says, we have to wait and understand, is that Musk got frustrated with the fact that he didn't have quite as free a hand as he thought he might. His Doge program ran into opposition in the courts, in the bureaucracy, sometimes within other members of the Trump government. And so eventually he felt that it was time for him to leave. And I think Trump, on the other hand, perhaps got frustrated at times that he was being outshone by Musk. I think that didn't sit terribly well with him. And so while he was happy to have him around and help out in various ways, it wasn't like he felt it was essential that Musk stay forever.
Daniel, the big question now. Elon Musk was the chief of the Department of Government, the Doge. That's the phrase that they all had given. So what will happen to it next? Because this is something that Donald Trump was very keenly looking at, wanting to change the way the government used to function over the past so many years. So this was something, his big ticket, that was something that he was looking at. What will now happen to Doge? That's the big question. A lot of people around are asking.
I think the fate of Doge itself as an entity, we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But I think the bigger question and what you're getting at is what's going to happen to the Trump administration's efforts to cut spending, to cut what it calls wastes and fraud. Obviously, people disagree about how much waste and fraud there actually is, but their efforts to trim back the bureaucracy, to cut spending. And I think we'll see those efforts continue in various places, in various ways over the coming months and years. Now, again, how much headway they'll make, it's uncertain. How much further they'll go than they've gone so far, we don't know. But we know that the Republican Party as a whole has long been very interested in reducing the size of the federal government. And so I expect we'll continue to see efforts at that, no matter what happens to Doge proper.
Now, coming to a big question now, do you believe that the American citizens are very happy the way things are going? Because there have been certain statements which have been made and then backtracking has happened, certain ideas that were flown out, but then again the backtracking happened. So do you think there's a lot of confusion in the Trump administration at the moment?
Sure. So I should start with a caveat that when we talk about what American people are happy with or like or dislike, it's always hard to know. It's hard to boil down by particular issues. It's hard to tease out the signal from the noise. We do know a couple of things, though. First is that Musk himself was unpopular. Polls often showed that he was actually quite unpopular, often far more unpopular than Donald Trump. We do know that Americans like the idea of cutting out waste and fraud, but again, who doesn't like the idea of cutting out waste and fraud? The devil's in the details. It's what you talk about cutting, where you really have to see how people are responding. And cutting programs like Medicaid, like Medicare, some of the social safety net programs that constitute really the bulk of American spending, cutting those programs is not popular at all. And I don't expect it will get any more popular in the months and weeks ahead, even as Republicans work, as they're trying to right now, to cut back some of America's social safety net provisions.
Daniel, can Elon Musk become a problem for Donald Trump in future? Because he is someone who knows a lot of secrets.
I think that Musk has perhaps already been a problem for Trump in that he was quite unpopular. And so his efforts may have dragged down Trump a little bit with him. By the same token, I've seen people argue that Musk may have served as a shield for Trump, in that anger that otherwise would have gone to the US president found itself directed at Musk instead. Now, in terms of knowing secrets or stuff like that when it comes to Trump, I'm personally skeptical. that Musk can be a problem for Trump in that regard, because it seems like no matter what scandal comes out about Trump, no matter what he does, he retains, roughly the same amount of popularity. It ebbs and it flows, but there have just been so many enormous scandals around Trump so far. Things that in the past would have run presidents out of, if not out of the Oval Office, it certainly would have taken their popularity down by 10 or 20 percentage points. And that has a very small, not zero, but a small effect on Trump's approval rating.
You know what you are saying, a lot of people might actually say that Donald Trump is extremely lucky, and some might even also say that this is a changed United States of America that the world is now looking at.
I think, to what extent Trump himself has changed America versus to what extent Trump is the product of a changed America, there's causal factors going both ways there. It's a little bit of A and a little bit of B, but we're definitely looking at a changed country right now. I mean, Trump is such an overwhelming figure, and he's dominated American politics to an extent that we haven't really seen, at least in my lifetime. And so, we're very polarized now. It's a very polarized country, and that's part of why Trump is able to maintain such a tight band of popularity. He can never become, super popular, perhaps certainly as popular as he would like, but he also has a high floor because his base of support is so strong. It stands by him almost no matter what.
Daniel, a lot of people also say that, Elon Musk is a person who calls a spade a spade. Do you think with him moving out of the cabinet, there wouldn't be a lot of people who would tell Donald Trump and call a spade a spade? So do you think in that sense, a little bit of a lack we could see coming in?
I'm not sure how much of a difference this is going to make in terms of Trump's own decision making. I think it's possible that Musk felt a little bit more autonomy to say what he wanted to say relative to other cabinet members because of his wealth, because his status was always somewhat temporary. But we did see that when Musk started to get involved in government, he had to engage in the same games of flattery and fawning over the president that other Republican politicians have had to. So he wasn't totally immune from that. He wasn't always calling a spade a spade. I mean, certainly on X, his social media platform, and in real life, can be a fire hose of disinformation, spouting out things that are not true all the time, constantly. But I think the other thing that's true is that Trump, even when he gets information he doesn't like, he tends to discard it. And even if Musk was sometimes a conduit for unhappy information to the president, and again, I'm not exactly sure to what extent that's true, the vast majority of people who surrounded him before were sycophants. The vast majority of people who surround him now. One of the big differences between Trump's second term and Trump's first.